Hey bassoonists, are you looking to ramp up your reed making? Well, Barton Kane has the solution for you. They offer over 60 variations of precision gouged, shaped, and profiled bassoon cane. Use coupon code FREE SHIPPING for orders over $150. This includes international orders. Go shop now at www.bartonkane.com.
So I want to talk to you guys about Singin' Dog Double Reeds. Singin' Dog Double Reeds is an online double reed shop and one of the largest suppliers of high quality and affordable professional and student reeds for oboe and bassoon in the USA. Visit them at www.singindog.com to see all of their products, and you'll be glad you did. That's Singin' Dog Double Reeds.
Hi, I'm Galit Kaunitz,
And I'm Jackie Wilson, and you're listening to Double Reed Dish,
a podcast for oboists
bassoonists,
and the people who love them.
So we're going to talk about double reed friendships today. Do you have any special double reed friends?
Well, I
Hint.
have one.
Don't hurt my feelings.
Well, and I feel like such a moron because we have never thought of this as a dish topic yet. We're coming quickly upon 2 years of doing this podcast, and there have been some episodes that we've been like, what are we going to talk about? And our favorite, like one of our things we bonded the most over in our friendship is this podcast called Call Your Girlfriend, which is literally like a weekly ode to the importance of friendship. And they were like, we're going to do an episode where we hear your stories about friends. And I was like,
Ding, ding, ding.
why haven't we done this yet?
So can I say that one of my favorite memories of our friendship is you? Like sometimes I'll feel a little bit low and I'll call you and you will immediately just start screaming positive affirmations at me, and it makes me feel so happy.
I feel like this is a really key component of our friendship because one of the things I appreciate most about you is that I am a very like rant oriented individual. I have been told I skew toward the intense, and and a lot of my is it's a little bit more snarky,
Screamy.
it's a little more sarcastic, and you and my husband, and I feel like it's a trend between people who I'm closest to in this life, just laugh at it.
It's really funny. Jackie just starts screaming about something and I just crack up. It's so funny because you're this tiny little person just screaming.
Well, and I feel like for other people, it could be like just not their thing. And for you, and I feel like your wife is a lot like that too, just kind of more of a snarky, like cynical commentary on the world. And it just tickles you. And I love that my rantings tickle you.
It really fills a need deep inside me, in my psyche.
And that's a lot of, I feel like, how I show love, whether I mean to or not. But when someone's like, I'm not believing in myself or I'm struggling with this thing, I'll be like, no, listen to me. You're important and you can do this thing. And
You're the best. And I love you.
exactly.
It's my favorite.
I feel like it might not work perfectly for like every single personality.
Probably not.
I call it the Inspire Scream. Well, and shout out to my other, dear oboe friend, Laura Mediski, who is also a giant fan of the Inspire Scream, and will literally like send me a text message that's like, I'm going to need an Inspire Scream. Like the way that, churches say, what's a prayer request? Laura will send me like Inspire a Scream requests, and then I'll either like text her back or leave on her voicemail like, you're not allowed to doubt yourself ever. And it just, I don't know, it works. And so, hey, listeners out there, if you ever need me to inspire a scream at you, just drop us an email. I'm an equal opportunity rant and screamer for the betterment of our double reed world. I'll do that for you.
It really works. It really makes me feel better.
So I mentioned Laura. What other double reed friendships have been formative in your life?
Oh man, when I was an undergrad at the Hart School, we had a small studio. I think there were 4 or 5 of us, and they were my best friends. It was so much fun. Darren and I would make reads together late at night in the read room, and he would crack me up. It was so funny. And then Charles and Ling Fei and Darren and I took a trip to Montreal one time and had a weekend in Montreal, and it was the best. It was the absolute best. We just all like got each other and supported each other and hung out, and it was just awesome. So shout out to all the double reed friends out there. Man, I remember one time I was like, Charles, can I play this excerpt for you? I don't even remember what it was. And he was like, yeah, sure, definitely. And I played it for him, and all he said was, why don't you try recording yourself and listen back? And then I did. I was like, okay, Mr. Cryptic. And then I did. And I was rushing so much that it was like you had put me on fast forward. It was really funny listening back. And I was like, very good, Charles. Very good.
I would also love to shout out all the Iowa bassoons. I love all the Iowa bassoons. Gustavo, Sarah Wildy, Stephanie Patterson, Kevin Judge, everybody. All love for my fellow Hawkeye bassoons.
Oh. Well, we got some really great submissions when we asked on our social media for people to send in their double reed friendships.
Mm-hmm.
So this one comes from Melissa, and it's so sweet. I have to read it. I have gone back to grad school for bassoon performance in my 40s, and I would be lost without my double reed buddy, Jay Hernandez, 94. I may be twice his age, but double the years isn't a problem when you have double the reeds.
Aww.
It's so cute. I just love intergenerational friendships, and this is so sweet.
We also got a lot of people just tagging each other with like heart emojis and friendship emojis, which is great. We love the support. My favorite submission was kind of collectively Matt, Andy, and Tori talking about Read Room baked potato days. And they said on baked potato days, they would have a legit baked potato bar. So he says, we decided one day that we wanted potatoes. So everyone in studio brought a topping and we baked them in multiple crock pots in the read room. And so I guess they just ate baked potatoes while they made reeds. And, you know, if I was going to like base a whole read class around a snack experience, I don't know if I would go straight to baked potato, if I'm being totally honest. Like, I can think of a couple of snacks that I would probably prioritize over baked potato, but I'm not judging. And we're a big fan of snacks in this family. So
yeah, let us snack. Thank you so much. So I love this one too from Lauren. It says, I found out that my best friend since kindergarten also chose oboe at the instrument tryout day. I've been competing with the same oboist for years. We're friends now and it's awesome. We both take from the same teacher, participate in the state youth orchestra, and even have the same Let It Snowbow sweater.
I think this is a really important thing to highlight on, and I'm not trying to get all serious on a otherwise fun dish, but I feel like sometimes it can be easy for within a studio or within an instrument group for competition to kind of get in the way of a potential friendship. And I loved this submission kind of talking about how, you know, what was initially a competitive relationship really evolved and turned into something that they bonded over. And I thought that was just like very high five worthy.
I love it. When I see my students doing that, taking care of each other and supporting each other and competing at the same time, I almost cry. I love it so much.
Right. You don't want to miss a chance to learn from each other. And competition is a realistic part of what we do, but we don't need to bring it into parts that it doesn't necessarily have to be and lose out on all these great friends.
Oh, it's so great. Double reed friendships forever.
If you're a bassoonist who needs great quality reeds, look no farther than Go Bassoon. Handcrafted by Lee Miller Munoz, these reeds are both high quality and affordable. She also makes contrabassoon reeds. You can find Go Bassoon at www.gobassoon.com.
So we all know that Genda Industries is known for their reed knives, sharpening, and overall amazing quality in the double reed world. But there is so much more going on at Genda Industries. Did you know that you can get oboe and bassoon reeds from Genda Industries at the Artisan Mall? The Genda Industries Artisan Mall, it's like a farmer's market, and it's filled with talented, local, and regional reed makers selling their own reeds. It's a great way to try out some new reeds from new makers, and who knows, one day maybe your reeds will be for sale. Add the code DRDGenda, that's all capitals, no spaces, at checkout, and get 10% off any Genda reed knife, maintenance kit, reed knife sharpening book, cutting block, and reed tool row. Visit them at gendaindustries.com. Oh, and they're much more than just reed knives.
We are so delighted to welcome to the podcast Katarzyna Zdybel-Nam, soloist of the Symphony Orchestra of the Wroclaw Philharmonic. Welcome, Katarzyna.
Hi, everybody. Nice to be here.
We're so happy you could join us. I always love to start by asking how you came to start playing the bassoon.
Well, it's quite simple story. I started flute, and I hated practicing flute because I thought it's so exhausting. And I think I never breathe good on flute because I was always tired and I was discouraged with this issue. I think I was good with theory, but with flute playing it wasn't anything special. So when I tried to pass my exams to secondary music school, I failed with flute, but with theory it was really good. So I was offered to change instrument because maybe flute was not my instrument. And then I had a wonderful teacher. His name is Jerzy Lisak in Secondary School of Music in Zamość. And he started, of course, with teaching me how to breathe properly. And I think this was the way how I started to enjoy playing wind instrument. Yeah, because I was it was just a pleasure to blow naturally into the instrument, and I started to love practicing. This was how it started.
Could you talk to us about embarking on becoming a professional bassoonist and your career trajectory up through today?
I wasn't convinced until studies in Warsaw University of Music. I wasn't convinced that I really will become like professional bassoon player, because it's always very difficult to get job on any instrument. Yeah, so I wasn't sure if I will, after my studies, I will become bassoonist. And I never dreamed about becoming soloist, of course, when I was even at studies. So I think when after I finished my studies in Warsaw University of Music, I got my job. It was a surprise in the Wroclaw Philharmonic Orchestra. And then I thought that finally I'm professional.
Can you talk to us more about the audition process for the Wroclaw Philharmonic?
I was very anxious, of course. It was just after studies. It was my second audition. And I practiced, for 1 month. 4 hours every day, or only excerpts and Mozart. I was really focused only on this audition, nothing else. I was just, I must say I was just focused on this one audition, and I was completely out of any other activities.
You're also incredibly successful in the competition setting. You've won numerous international competitions. Americans will be very familiar with the Gillet Fox competition, which you won in 2012. So I would love to ask maybe even a few questions about your experience competing. Maybe we could start off by having you talk to us about how you go about preparing for a competitive environment.
Well, it's a very complicated question actually, because there are many factors to prepare competitions. Yeah, firstly, you have to know repertoire. Secondly, sometimes it's important to play by heart. It's required, yeah, to play by heart. And third factor is stress, of course, which as everybody probably, or mostly of us, has some problems. So which I also had to face. And for myself, when I was a student, I was maybe 20 years old, I really felt that stress is making my performance much worse than I can perform. So I started to think, what can I do to solve this problem? And I thought that, I have problems with cold hands, or shaking hands, and also with concentration. So I thought maybe some physical exercises would be good. So I figured out that I will do some gymnastic like half an hour before performance, and I will see how it works. And it occurred that it worked very well. Like a small amount of exercises, and my hands are warm, and I'm much more focused. So I'm doing these exercises before every important concert until now.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Also, I think breathing exercises are quite important before important performance, because it helps me to keep focus. To be focused on what I will perform in a moment, and I'm trying to reduce all small talks with conductors or with my colleagues before important performance. I try to be just alone, and I try to focus on myself, to make breathing exercises, just a few, but it really give me more confidence on stage and more focus on stage, because I remember performances when I just couldn't think about music. I was thinking about everything else, not about the music. This was just terrible. And now I must say I'm focused on stage. I'm thinking about the music.
The breathing exercises that you were talking about, is it similar to what somebody might learn in yoga, or where did you find the exercises? And where did you find them?
Yes, this is American school of breathing.
Oh.
This is it's called Breathing Gym. It's by two tuba players, Patrick
I've heard
Sheridan,
of this
and
before.
yeah, it's incredible. And I'm doing it since, I don't know, 10 years, maybe 8. And it gives fantastic effects. Also, I'm encouraging my students to do these exercises, especially the first CD. I don't know if you know the CDs. Mm-hmm. There are 2 at least. And I started with first CD, then I bought second CD, and it's absolutely fantastic.
That's amazing. I had heard of this before, but it's been a while, and I never followed through on looking it up. So I'm really glad that you brought that back into my attention, because it seems like that would really be super helpful for your mental state going into a competitive scenario.
Yeah. Then the issue of repertoire, I'm trying to, because at mostly big competition, there is a choice of repertoire. Sometimes not. In America, I think there was not so big choice. No, there was no choice at IDRS competition. Mm-hmm. So I'm always choosing repertoire which is not challenge for me, but repertoire which is very comfortable for me. So that I don't, if competition is special time, I don't want to learn all new repertoire, but what I can play, and I know that I can play it quite okay, I'm choosing it. And I'm never experimenting with new repertoire on competition. I would say, very careful about repertoire. So that because I will anyway, I will have to prepare a few new pieces, and I must have as much time as possible to feel comfortable with repertoire.
Another aspect of the competitions you've participated in is that sometimes you have to travel exceedingly large distances to get to the competitions. How does travel impact your preparation? And I just would guess that would be a big consideration or something you'd have to deal with traveling so far. How did that impact your experience?
Well, it wasn't so a big deal. Even Gillett Fox competition was kind of special because actually I wanted to tell you about this because it was a funny story. It was beginning of holiday in Europe, and all flights were like delayed, and I missed my flight. Connection to America, so I had to stay, I think, in Frankfurt. I stayed overnight, which meant that I will be one day later at competition. But still, I had like 1 or 2 days. I know that I will arrive earlier. So I finally arrived, I don't know, 1 or let's say 2 days earlier. It occurred that my luggage didn't come. So it was. I was actually scared because I was in this summer jeans skirt, and the suit was not at all good for competition. I didn't have any time to do shopping because it was in Ohio. I don't know this Oxford University. It was far from any shops. So I was so scared and so stressed because it was also video recording. I was so stressed that I will look bad, and my luggage didn't come, my tools didn't come, and I don't know how about reeds. I was so stressed, and finally I found a tiny shop somewhere near the university. And I bought any black dress that was available. And any shoes, because I had just sports shoes. I felt so bad, I must say. And I felt, and I had, then it was fine. I had rehearsal with pianist, and I felt, okay, I will be ready. And the night before competition, I think I didn't sleep 2 hours because I had a headache because of time change, and I was stressed. It was terrible. And when I woke up at 5 o'clock, I think it was 5 o'clock US time, I think, I thought, how the hell I'm going to play it? And I had headache. I felt so bad. So finally I thought, anyway, I have to play it. And it doesn't matter how it goes. It's not the end of the world if I will not play the best. And with this feeling, I went on stage. I didn't look so good, I think, but I played more or less fine, and I was focused, and I even enjoyed on stage. So I think it's not. Let's not make preparation let's not make travel and all these things around competition, like preparation, how I will look. We shouldn't make it the most important thing. Sometimes just let it go and go on stage and play. This is the only way, because environment is not fantastic for us every day, and our reads are changing. So there are so many factors that are not perfect at the day of competition. So I think we should just at some point go there and don't think too much. Just let it go.
Oh, that is great advice. So you have done so well in so many different competitions, it would take a long time to list all of them. What have you learned through competitions, and why is it important for young people coming up to participate?
I think the most important thing is to learn repertoire, and secondly to listen to other players. And the third thing is to listen to your comments, especially from listen to comments on your playing, especially from jury, because then you can develop, and you can you know what to aspire to in future. What else you can reach? Like you like different player tone or different player interpretation. So it's always worth to go to competition. Even I never actually thought about winning competition when I went there. I went there only. It was a challenge for me to compete with other great players. And actually, like 10 years ago, I would never think that I win a Jill Fox competition. It was just my dream, and I was just lucky, I think. I'm never thinking about competition like it's my goal to win it. No, it's my goal to go there and play as good as possible and to develop as much as possible. I did my last competition 2 years ago in 2016. It was Matthew Ruggiero competition, and it was also a challenge because yeah, it was special. It was an online competition, and at that time when they announced it, I was pregnant, and I thought it would be a pity not to do this competition because it will be probably my last competition. I'm turning 35 this year, so I thought it will be my last competition, and I really should try it. And it's video; I don't have to do anything else. Yeah, but then I was pregnant, and it was also I think cool because I have now this recording of second round competition. First round it was Mozart concerto, and second round it was Gandolfini competition. And in the second round I was I don't know, it was 7 months of my of pregnancy. Yeah. Yeah. So, but still, I think maybe it's not let me think about the word. Maybe it's not extremely energetic because I had really big belly.
Oh no.
Yeah, but still, you can see that I'm enjoying, and I like this recording. It's great memory. And then the final round of this Matthew Ruggiero competition, I recorded when my son was 5 months. And although I didn't have so much time to practice because I was breastfeeding, and I was all the time at home. At this time, my mother helped me. I thought it was I didn't need so much time to prepare as I would if I'm not having baby. So yeah, it always depends. There is no rule, but if I will practice, I don't know, 5 hours every day, I will win competition, because this competition I really didn't. When I was pregnant, I couldn't practice, of course, 5 hours or 4. And after, when my son was there, I also didn't have time to practice. I just was focused during these 2 or 3 hours. I was focused on practicing.
You had to be a lot more efficient.
Yeah, exactly.
So you are a soloist and you are an orchestral player. And my question about that is, do you notice that there is a difference between how you can express yourself in an orchestra and how you can express yourself in a solo situation?
Well, this is a hard question, I would say, because I was thinking about this question actually a lot, because there are some rules. I was member of quite many orchestras during these years, And every orchestra is like organism, and they have their own taste maybe. And when I was principal bassoonist of Lausanne Chamber Orchestra in Switzerland, I thought they don't like they don't like too much expression. I thought, and I have to keep some emotions inside. I can't show too much because other players also don't show too much. Mm-hmm. But for example, in Denmark, in the Royal Danish Orchestra, they were so cool. We enjoyed playing so much, and nobody told anything. And in Wrocław also, I feel that I can play as I want, and I don't have to look around and thinking, but if it's okay for orchestra, I just feel good in the orchestra, and I play as I love to play. Yeah, so I in Wrocław Symphony Orchestra, I feel at home, and I just play naturally. But still, it's of course not this expression as I play solo. Also, when I play solo, of course, there are different kinds of pieces, and I play differently Mozart concerto, I play differently Rossini concerto, and I play differently. We have a wonderful Polish concerto, Andrzej Panównik Bassoon Concerto, which requires incredible expression, because it's very tragic concerto. So, it always depends.
I listened to your recordings, and there is so much conviction in the style and in the phrasing. And I find a lot of times, especially students, but even professionals, are hesitant to take musical chances. Was that something you had to work on, or is that something that came naturally to you? How did you develop that unique ability that stands out so much in your playing?
Well, so I think I think every style of music requires a different approach, and also requires we should think what style we play firstly, yeah? And how I also before recording, I kind of imagine myself how I should sound. And also with video recording, I don't know if you see any video recording with me. It's also important for Matthew Ruggiero. That's why I'm asking, because it was Saint-Saëns Sonata. It was all online competition and all audio and video competition. Yeah. So in my opinion, it was also extremely important not only to play good, but also to look. You used a good word, convention. And I must say that I used my camera before official, official recording. During piano rehearsals, I used camera also to record video, to see if I look good enough. And I'm not talking about my hair or makeup, but about movements, or if I'm moving too much or too little, and I don't know, everything else, face expression, and what I always saw at my recordings was that I'm not enjoying. I enjoyed when I played. I felt that I'm enjoying, but what I looked at on video, I didn't look like I'm enjoying. So I always keep repeating my pianist that we really should we play good enough, but we don't look like we are enjoying the music. The important thing, very simple but so important, is to smile at the beginning. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, it's so hard to talk about myself. I don't know. I play I try to play as good as I can, but how it sounds, for me, it's just my voice.
Mm-hmm. Do you find that by expressing your voice as much as you feel called to do, as much as you want to do you find that you're taking a lot of risk?
Well, as I told, I play just as good as I can, and I never think how other people will judge me. I just think for me what I offer. I'm honest with myself. It has to be in style. In my opinion, it has to be in style. And I don't think that I'm extreme in any case. I hear these days violinists, and they are much more extreme than bassonists. So I think I don't take too much risk. I just try, especially on competition. Yeah, I just play. I think I play in style. I hope to play in style. Yeah, and I wouldn't call it risk. I just want to play in style because it's competition. Of course, different way. Is audition, different thing. Is audition, and different thing is solo playing. Yeah, these are three different approaches to bassoon playing, completely different, I would say, because on audition you really have to be like a standard player, because nobody wants to listen anything extreme. Nobody wants extreme player in orchestra. Yeah? Do you know what I mean? Does it make sense?
Yes.
You just have to be standard and really perfect player, perfectionist. This is for audition. And at the same time, you play with beautiful tone, very musical, and I think this is the way of success. You have to be very convinced about your playing, and but still in frames. You can't be extreme at audition. In competition, you can show more. And you should show more, but still in bassoon we don't have so many different schools, I would say, like in violinists. Yeah, my husband is violinist, so I listen quite a lot to modern violinists, and also to old school violinists, and they are much more extreme at competition than bassoon players. And third thing is solo concerts, when you do what you want. And as I told you, we have a very special Andrzej Panównik concerto. It's very tragic, and really it requires so much expression, so much tragism in music, and I love performing it because it's so polished and it's so tragic. Like I don't know any other piece, and I'm so proud that it's bassoon voice who is playing this. So there are many different ways and many different, like I would say, occasions. You have always to think for who you play, and which. How extreme, or how extreme you can be, and or how much you can go over the borders. I don't know if it's good. Yeah. So always I'm thinking for who I'm playing, and but still. I'm still Katarzyna Zdybel-Nam. I'm not trying to be anybody else. Just I'm honest with myself.
I think that is so important, to just sing your own voice.
Yeah, exactly.
So you teach, and you have a very active performing schedule. And as you mentioned, you're a mother. So I'm curious how you approach practicing now, and how you make the most of the time that you have in practice.
It's special time of my life, because I can't spend so much time every day on practicing, and always it's a choice between being mother and being bassoon player. Yeah, so yeah, you have always to choose. Sometimes when I have a solo concert, I really have to be focused on playing, but still I try. I'm so focused these days, even if I have 1 or 2 3 hours. I'm so focused that I can prepare this concerto. When I was younger, I had to practice so much more to get the same effect, or maybe I practice so much and then and now I don't have to practice so much. I don't know, but I would say I quit from like orchestral gigs and not so important concerts to be with my son, and I'm just taking the most important concerts, and my students, of course, are very important for me. And then I have still some time, like maybe 1 hour for practicing, and the rest day with my son. So yeah, it's really hard, and every day I'm actually tired, but I think it's worth. Because even since my son is here, somehow I did so many things. I won this Matthew Ruggiero competition, and then I recorded CD last year, which will be released this year. And then I played quite few solo performances. Somehow it's possible. It's hard to explain, but I think every mother understands me. But you have to be so much more focused on work, so that it doesn't take much time, because you need this time for your baby. He needs you.
This is a double reed podcast, so it would be a shame if we didn't ask about reeds. Can you give us some advice on reed making, or maybe some good advice that you've received over the years?
Well, I participated a few classes on reed making, especially when I studied in Germany with Mark Engelhardt. And of course, wood. This is the most important. And without good wood, without doubt, we can't make good reed. So I think important is to find good wood dealer. And really somebody that you can trust. And other things like shaping and I don't know, scraping, yeah, and profiling. This is I never found it difficult, actually. And although I'm not talented in handworks. So I think it's only question of experiments with reeds, and I often heard my students complaining about reeds that they don't work or something. But on the other hand, we are so lucky, bassonists and oboists. I think we are so lucky with making our own voice with reed, yeah. Mm-hmm. Because we can create so much our sound with reeds. And I always feel like advantage of making reeds, because like violinists, what can they do to improve their tone? It's so difficult on violin or on piano, yeah? And with bassoon, I think I found it so easy to change color of reed. So I don't understand actually why everybody complains about this.
I'm going to say that to all my students now, too.
So you already mentioned a couple times this Polish concerto that you're really excited about. Are there any other pieces of repertoire that you really love to play, and any that you feel are underplayed that you'd like to tell our listeners about?
Yeah. So, I would also like to tell about this. It's great that you asked. I think that we have in bassoon repertoire so many pieces that are still not played, are not discovered. And in my repertoire, when I'm building my repertoire, I always try to find new pieces that are not so famous. But I've already found so many great bassoon pieces. I love. This is one recently my favorite. This is Jacobi Introduction and Polonaise.
Yes, I'm familiar with it.
So maybe now this is quite famous. But when I discovered it, it was in 2000. 13, I think. Nobody played this piece, and nobody knows. None of my teachers knows this piece. And I practiced. I learned. I thought it's not so difficult, and it's makes impression on audience. And recently, my colleague from Ukraine sent me because originally it's for bassoon and piano. And my colleague sent me a version for bassoon and orchestra. Yeah, so I performed it with orchestra 3 times this year, 3 times this year, and really, it's audience loves this piece, and the final last page is quite virtuoso. So really, I have so much fun because it's not so difficult, and our audience, they love. Virtuoso stuff at the end, and they are always so excited after Jacobi. So this is the piece which I really like perform. And also maybe Rossini concerto. It's already quite well known, but here in Poland not so much. And I performed it 2 times this year, and also audience loved it, and I hope I will perform it more often.
Yeah, it's very underplayed, surprisingly.
Yeah, it's a great piece. I if I have possibility, I always say conductors, but we should play this piece. Let's play this piece. And no, Vivaldi and Mozart or Weber. No, Rossini. It's such a pity. Yeah, such a pity.
Can you tell us about a favorite memory of a past performance that you might have?
Yeah, actually, it was, I already told about Gillette Fox competition in 2012. So, it was just, I was so tired. I thought I will die on stage probably, I thought. So something bad will happen. And before going on, I thought before going on, so when I went, and I even enjoyed, and this was I have just so fantastic memory. Sometimes it's nice to have some difficulties because you can talk about this after a few years, and you can laugh about this.
Just wait a few years, and then it becomes a good story.
Exactly.
What advice do you have for a young musician who would like to have a career like yours?
I would say that we are so lucky as bassoon players because there are so many fields, so many parts of our profession still undiscovered. Uh-huh. Yeah. So I would say that every of us can find something for himself in bassoon playing, like reed making. This is not very. This is quite typical. But for example. This year I thought that I want to discover Polish bassoon music written in 20th century. Mm-hmm. Because nobody plays Polish bassoon music written in 12th centuries, and I even managed to get scholarship for this. So this year I will learn many Polish pieces that nobody plays, and I think this is idea. Yeah, this is already I have this year to do this, and I'm very excited to do this. I don't know how about American bassoon music in 20th century. Maybe it's still also. There are pieces that are not well known and should be more played. So
I'm sure.
Yeah, the same with let's say jazz or kind of jazz on bassoon. There are also so many fun pieces that are really worth to play, and nobody does it. And when I record Jazz to Eat by Ken Cooper, I received so many emails, even from American players, that they would like to play this, and where can I get the music? And then I thought maybe I should play more this kind of jazz playing because it's so light and everybody enjoys it. And I found that there are much more jazz pieces, and I don't have even time to do this. So I think everybody should find you should find your own way to be bassoonist, because nobody enjoys playing. Like listeners doesn't enjoy Mozart concerto so much as maybe new pieces. Yeah, there are still paths that are uncovered.
Katarzyna, it has been so wonderful to talk to you, and you have such a fresh perspective on musicianship and bassoon playing. Would you tell us what upcoming performances you have that you're excited about, and perhaps where we can find you on the internet if you'd like us to find you on the internet?
Well, it's not a performance, but I would like to tell this. Is it okay?
Sure. Yes.
I'm going to release next solo CD. It's actually a CD with piano. The new CD will contain romantic music and also a few works from 20th century, but still in romantic style. So I think it will appear in autumn. And I'm really looking forward to have it in my hand. I'm sure it will be also on the internet. It will be on Spotify and iTunes. And my first CD, Portrait, with string quartet and with piano and also solo pieces, it's available also online on Spotify, iTunes, some parts on YouTube. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on Double Reed Dish. It was wonderful.
Thank you so much.
As always, you can follow us on any of our social media. Find us on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. If you want to follow us individually, she is Hello Oboe. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Hello Oboe on Instagram. And I am Wilson Bassoon on Instagram. We'd love to hear from you. And we would also love if you listen to other episodes on Google Play, iTunes, and please leave us a review. Listen on SoundCloud, YouTube. I'm just listing things now. Galit, take over.
Our next fabulous guest is the principal oboe of the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra, Liz Cook-Tishone. Jackie, time to end this nerd parade.
Go make reeds. Yikes.